Hello and welcome to a channel update for February. So, there are a lot of things to talk about, so we're going to just get started so this video doesn't take too long. Right, first things first, we have the Crusader Kings 2 Warhammer, which was viewer voted. It should be going Monday to Friday, and it should have started 2 days ago, hopefully. I'm kind of interested to get back into this because I'm going to be playing with some of the performance submods, which will hopefully make the game run a little bit better. So hopefully, in general, that's going to be pretty good. That's going to mean that the game runs a little bit quicker. We're going to have a faster pace on it, and maybe some of the mechanics that before just seemed a little bit slow, kind of like once it's running quicker, they're not running as slowly. For instance, sieging. Like, the siege speed is like 4% every 12 days is like an average one in that mod. It's the same in Elder Kings, but Elder Kings feels much quicker because the mod as as a whole runs much quicker. While in Warhammer it felt really slow because the mod was running slow, so those 12 days took a lot longer to get through. Hopefully with this, it'll feel much smoother and it won't feel like such a drag to do it each time. So that'll be really cool to try out and see whether that is the case. What we should do is look at the vote, because the vote was actually quite interesting. Top of the vote was Warhammer, obviously. It had 20% in the vote, and it quite handily won. Like, it's very much ahead of anything else. Romance of the Three Kingdoms, though, did come in second, which I didn't expect at all. Like, I expected that to be much further down, especially as it was on the previous poll. Now, what I think we might do is we're probably going to play Warhammer, obviously. And then depending on which one ends first, the Warhammer one or Elder Kings one, presuming no other mods come out, like presuming the Dragon Age mod doesn't have a huge update or something like that, or one of the other mods we've been looking at doesn't have a huge update, I think that Romance of the Three Kingdoms is probably like next on the list. We'll try it out. I think that's how I want to do a lot of these polls. I want to kind of play like the one that won, and then one of the ones that came up high that just catches my interest. Like Democracy as well. I completely forgot that off our list, actually. Let me just be incredibly professional. Just go Democracy 3. Well, I'll just put Sun. There we go. That's perfect, you know? Right. So yeah, like Democracy 3 didn't win its poll, but I'm still playing it because it kind of fits into the schedule nicely. I think that's the kind of thing that I should be doing. I think instead of just going for winner each time, it gives a little bit more variety. It means that not only the top one wins. So I think that's kind of cool. What I do want to do is I want to look for a poll system. I have no idea if this exists or not. That has like a ranking system. Somebody said like, oh, there are so many good mods, but you can only vote for one. So the option that Straw Poll offers you is what I used for the vote that EU4 won, which gives you can choose multiple options. But that's not great either, because that means that what I'd suspect in this one is you'd go, okay, well, I really want to see, I don't know, Witcher Kings, but I wouldn't mind Game of Thrones, so you throw in a vote there, and then it would kind of raise up the rankings, because it's kind of like the I don't mind it really option. That's what I don't want to have. I don't want to have like the option that people don't mind. I want to have something that I want people to. I'd prefer a smaller group of people to really like it than a larger group of people to be kind of okay about it. I think that's a better philosophy to kind of go forward with. But yeah, what I'd be looking for is a ranking system. So you could say, actually, I want to rank Witcher Kings 1 like first. So I'm going to give it my first ranking, and then I'm going to give like Game of Thrones my second choice. So it would be a lower down vote. I'm not entirely sure if that ranking system exists, or like that kind of voting system exists in terms of like a quick internet poll thing, but that could be quite cool to try out. Anyway, yeah, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. If you want to see the rest of the poll, we did kind of go down it, but we had Game of Thrones, Lux and Victor was quite high up, Foreign Nations was quite high up, we haven't seen that in a while. It could be cool if that has another update, because that was one that was a little unfinished, but would still, like, it'd be a lot more interesting, especially as I've now actually seen the content that it was based on, so, because it was based on the Avatar and Korra series, so actually knowing what's going on would be a lot of help there. After the End was high up, was kind of, well, yeah, it's kind of in the higher up group as well. It's one that I hear a lot of people saying is good, but nobody really wants to see it. That's kind of the problem with that one. And then we kind of get down here. Winter King, unfortunately, is down there at no votes. Like, it's below the Seven Kingdoms. Winter King is so good, but I feel like it's a mod that appeals to me more as a CK2 like person who plays a ton of mods than it does to a viewer perspective. That'd be my guess for it. Hip and CK2 Plus maybe cannibalized each other's votes because they do kind of fill the same niche. I'm kind of wondering about that. That's another reason I'd like this ranking system, so I could actually have a look at that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm just kind of talking like straight off the top of the head here. Just not really, haven't really thought about it in detail yet. What could be cool is to see whether, yeah, well, I could always make one, I suppose, if I wanted to do that kind of ranking system. But we'll see, we'll see. No promises. That would involve a tiny amount of extra work, which obviously is just unacceptable. Let's get back to the schedule. Let's move on. Elder Kings. It should end at some point if I actually record it. That's the problem. It's kind of the series I put as the... Like, I usually have one series that I do, which is kind of the... If it doesn't get done, it's not that big a deal kind of thing. I put it down as like the series that if anything's going to miss an episode, it's going to be on that series. Just because it's been going on so long, the people are watching it, they're kind of committed at this point. I'm not going to see a huge drop-off in viewership. Like, if it's a series that's like episode 1, then you miss 4 days, and then it's episode 2, there's going to be a huge drop-off in viewership. If it's episode 100, and then it goes to episode 101, you don't quite see this. That viewership drop would have happened ages ago. Would have happened probably around episode 30, where there was a year-long break. So that's why it kind of gets dropped down a little bit, but hopefully I can get some of it recorded. My plan is this weekend, or today as it is, as the weekend is now Sunday, basically to record like a couple weeks of that, get some backlog going, because really it's not the kind of series where I necessarily need to have a lot of feedback at this point. Pretty much set on what we're doing. It's just conquest, 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 and it doesn't seem like it has that much longer left to go. So yeah, I think that's yeah, that will probably be replaced by Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I haven't quite worked that out yet, because there are some other things I'm looking at, which we'll talk about later, which may go into its slot temporarily. Anyway, Witcher 3, really enjoying it. Every day is currently the plan. I need to stop recording hour-long episodes if I want it to be every day, but we'll see. It can kind of work out doing hour-long episodes. I just need to find a good way to record it. Like, it's kind of the perfect game to play like after work, like a weekday, because it's got like it's a little bit less like you don't have to be quite as switched on to do it. Like CK2, it's constantly you driving the action. Like you've got to choose what you're doing, you gotta make decisions all the time. Witcher 3, there's a little bit more of a sit back, enjoy the story kind of bit in there. Like get invested in that, which I think works a lot better for that kind of recording session. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, EU4, another viewer voted one, Sunday to Thursday. I don't imagine it's going to last too much longer. We're getting through the game fairly quickly. I don't know if we're going to achieve our objective, but I'm enjoying it so far. So we'll see. We're actually doing very well on this run. I think this is definitely the run. So we'll see. I'm like nothing really bad to say about it. I'm kind of surprised how quickly. Like, I know it doesn't seem like it to some people in the comments because I am actually bad at the game, but I was kind of bad at the game before, so I'm kind of surprised how quickly I got back into it. It might just be that I played a lot more Paradox games since last time I played EU4, so I'm a little bit more into it. Like, I can see the behind the scenes, alright, so this is this mechanic from this game. And actually, like, it does have some things that I'm like, oh right, after playing Victoria 2, it's like, oh, so that's what this is. This is that mechanic. So, yeah. It's a really fun game. Like, not really much more to say about it there. Divinity! It will be back. It's going to be every second day. That's the plan. I'm going to start it today, hopefully. I think that's a good one, because I said it would come back in February. We recorded a 4-hour recording session, which should give us enough episodes to last to the next recording session, and that's pretty much the way it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's gonna we're hopefully gonna continue to the end of the game point here. Although we have barely started, I did realize we've just left Tutorial Island after 40 hours of gameplay or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Democracy 3, I'm enjoying playing it. I think about once a week is about as much as I can stomach of it, but yeah. By that, I don't mean it's a bad game, but I mean, like, the options are limited in it. Like, they're very limited. Democracy 3 Africa is the one we've been playing. I'm not sure if we're going to continue on it. I think we maybe have stretched Africa to as far as it can go, because it doesn't have as many decisions as other, like, as the main game. And I suspect the main game has more mods, so it might be a good idea to switch back to, I think it was Democracy 3 Electioneering was the last DLC, and then try that with some mods and see how it goes, because there are different decision mods, I think, and there are also different nation mods, so it could be cool to try, like, some different scenarios and see how we do. The other thing is we're going to have some more stream tests. I definitely want to do more of that. I think that I pretty much decided that, what was it? Yeah, that CK2's maybe out, but I might try the other encoder and see whether that works. It was also a little bit blocky, as people pointed out, and I had a look at it, and it was a little bit, there was a little bit of compression going on, and given that that was on CK2, effectively just a map on the screen, that's not that good. Like, if I was to play something like Witcher on that, not that I would, but as an example, that would just look horrible at the current settings I had, because it's gonna just, like, all the grass stuff is gonna just make the compression awful, or like rain. So need to work out exactly how to do that, but yeah, we'll do some more tests. Might do some different games, like some things that just aren't on the channel usually, kind of things, just to see what works. I think CK2 is maybe also a little bit, like, there was no time for interaction in CK2, like, at least what we were playing in Elder Kings, it was a little bit too involved, I think, for me. Because I'm used to just kind of talking non-stop when there's CK2. But it might be cool, like, if we play something a little bit slower, something where I could just stop and just, like, read chat a little bit and then actually answer questions. Like, something like Gwent, I think, would almost be fine for that. I think, like, something like a card game. I mean, I know I'm just saying, like, what's good for streaming, and you can look on something like Twitch, and you'd be like, alright, yeah, those are good for streaming. Like, things that just basically you can have on the background while reading chat, which tend to go up pretty high. Like, Hearthstone is really high, and it's not because everyone's so invested in Hearthstone, it's because Hearthstone's one that gives you a good chance for some more interaction on top of it. Like, it's a game where a lot of people know it, so they can see that they understand what's going on without having to have it all explained to them all the time. At least that's how I see it. I think it has a little bit of zaniness in the game itself, so there's some cool stuff that can happen. But generally, it gives you a chance to have some interaction with people. I think that's the kind of thing that you need to have on streams. I think there's a little bit more that side of things. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling, but yeah, let's talk about things that are to come. Talking of things that are to come, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It comes out on February the 14th. I think I want to play it. If the reviews are good, I'm going to check the review. It might be the 13th. I think it was the 14th. Anyway, but yeah, I'm going to check some reviews before I jump into it, because obviously it's not by a developer who's got a good long track record. So we'll see what it's like, but it sounds fairly perfect. It's a medieval RPG. Well, it's not medieval, is it? It's a 15th century Bohemia RPG, which is about basically, like, it's a very grounded in reality kind of thing. It sounds kind of great in terms of it's I'm trying to think of the exact way, like, its genre, its kind of themes, it kind of fits into like the channel quite well. I think it would slot in nicely next to like Crusader Kings EU4 kind of stuff. I think that would be be cool to see. Especially as we will have just, well, we'll either be finishing or have just finished EU4. Like, it'll be the right time period, and we'll be like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on right now. We've got some HRE stuff going on, or whatever, you know? I think that's cool. Anyway, that's just me rambling. I think that could be fun. If it gets good reviews, we'll probably play it. The slot I would suspect it would go into is initially Elder Kings, if it finishes in the next 2 weeks, or EU4 if it finishes in the next 2 weeks, or I might have it going on as another slot, but I like, that's not really sustainable for more than like a week and a half, 2 weeks, so we'll see. But yeah, basically I think it should go in EU4 slot, like when it finishes. It's kind of the variety game. in terms of what we got going on there. And yeah, it could go in the Elder King slot temporarily, but I think that having 2 CK2 series is still the way I want to go. Yeah, because it still gets consistently, and I don't like to talk about views too much, but it does still get consistently higher views than something like, say, EU4. Like, CK2 will still be, like, a little bit above it, generally. Anyway, and the other thing that we are gonna play, I have no idea how it's gonna fit into the schedule because it's in April. I would say I'd love it to go in the Witcher 3 slot, but Witcher 3 is what? A 60-hour game, well, some people say like to a 100-hour game, with 2 DLCs that are both like 60 hours long or something ridiculous like that. So, I may still be playing The Witcher 3 at that point. But if I am not, like, playing Pillars of Eternity 2 is definitely going to be top of the list. In fact, it's going to be top of the list anyway. I'm going to make a slot for it, if there isn't already one. It is something I am so excited to play. After finishing the first one, like, it got so good in the DLC that I'm, like, the 2 DLCs, I just want to see what they can do with it. Like, this is their second shot at it. All the little kind of things that didn't quite work out, they're going to be completely cleared up. We already have a good idea about the lore. It's going to be in, like, Pirate Land, which is going to be very cool. I suspect I can already see where things are going to go. Like, the fort that you build up in the first game, I would be very surprised if that's not, like, some kind of ship or something like that. Or at least if they bring the mechanic back in any way. That's how I would see them bring it back. So, yeah, I am so in for Pillars of Eternity 2. And I, like, to fully disclose, I did kickstart it. Well, not kickstart, it came out on Fake or whatever that service is. But yeah, I picked it. That doesn't really sound as good. Like, the moment it came out, because I was like, I'm going to play it. Because I think the announcement for it came a couple of days after I finished the series. So I was like, oh, right, yeah. God, like, this is so good. So, yeah. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about that. That will be on the channel at some point. It's also something that, like, it was a huge, long RPG that we just finished, like, without having any major problems in the recording. Like, I think the way we were recording it at the time was a little bit weird, because it was like every second day it was coming out or something like that, which I think I've decided for RPGs isn't that good. I think it has to be like every day, because otherwise you're just never going to get through it. It's going to take over a year, but anyway, yeah. I've been rambling for almost 20 minutes, so I think it's time to end, I was going to say the episode. This isn't to end the update. But to remind you of other things that are around the channel, there is a Twitter that I have, which I will answer messages sent to me on it. I also tweet about, you know, status updates for the channel and things like that. There is a Discord where I will attempt to post things that are relevant to the channel, things like the Humble Bundle, which might still be going on, Paradox Humble Bundle, which is alright. It's pretty much good if you want, I forget which one. Like, CK2's been cheaper. Stellaris, I think, was the only good one, as in terms of price. Magicka 2, maybe, if you're interested in that. I think that was in the lowest tier, but yeah, that's the kind of thing I'd post there. I'm not sure I'm going to do... I was doing kind of like weekly what's on the channel stuff, but nobody... Like, I'm not sure that was actually helpful or anything. I think that was just a thing that was on there. So, yeah. I'm not sure about Discord. That's another discussion entirely. I don't think it works for the size of channel that I currently have. So, we'll see. We'll see what I want to do with that. Anything else? Not really. I think that's all I really want to shout out in terms of other stuff. I do want to also say that Divinity is coming back with the co-op partner that I have been doing it with, obviously. And he has revamped his channel into some kind of 100% in games thing. So if that's your jam, go check it out. And, you know, post some comment that would annoy him or something like that. That would definitely be great. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.